This Valentine, your soulmate is hoping you give them this. Don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because the fact that you stopped here is not coincidence, it's alignment, it's divine timing tapping you on the shoulder saying, pay attention, and listen closely. Something powerful is happening in the emotional realm between you and the person tied to your soul, even if you haven't spoken lately, even if distance or silence exists, even if circumstances look complicated, the connection is active, awake, and moving. And don't scroll, because your soulmate is quietly hoping you give them something this Valentine that no store can sell, no receipt can prove, and no ribbon can wrap. And your heart needs this right now because you've been questioning your worth, your impact, your place in their life, wondering if you still matter, wondering if your presence is missed. And listen to this, it is more than you realize, more than they've said, more than they've shown. And don't scroll, because right now your energy is louder than your words, and that energy is being felt on the other side of the connection, and your heart needs this right now because you've been healing, changing, growing quietly, shedding old emotional patterns, learning how to love yourself deeper, learning how to stop chasing and start aligning. And listen closely. That inner shift is exactly what triggered this moment, because when one soul evolves, the other feels the pull, the echo, the ripple across the spiritual field. And don't scroll, because your soulmate is sensing that something about you is different, stronger, calmer, more grounded, and that difference is making them reflect, remember, reconsider, and emotionally awaken. And your heart needs this right now because Valentine's energy amplifies emotions, it opens heart portals, it brings hidden feelings to the surface, it activates soul contracts. And listen to this, you may have been seeing angel numbers lately, especially 1111, 222, or 444, especially when thinking about love, relationships, or your future. Don't scroll, because those numbers are signals, confirmations that your love timeline is shifting, that emotional alignment is happening behind the scenes. And your heart needs this right now because this Valentine is not about chocolates or cards, it's about emotional truth rising, about vulnerability breaking through pride, about courage stepping forward where fear once lived. And listen closely, your soulmate has been replaying moments with you, small memories, random conversations, shared laughter, eye contact that meant more than words. And don't scroll, because those memories are resurfacing for a reason. They are preparing their heart for something deeper, something honest, something real. And your heart needs this right now because you've been carrying emotional weight alone, wondering if you should move on, wondering if you should let go, wondering if this connection still has purpose. And listen to this, the universe doesn't activate connections without intention, it doesn't stir hearts without reason, it doesn't align timing without meaning. And don't scroll, because this Valentine marks a spiritual checkpoint, a moment where emotional choices shape future outcomes. And your heart needs this right now because your soulmate is not hoping for perfection from you. They are not asking for flawless words or dramatic gestures. They are longing for something simple yet powerful, something that can change everything between you. And listen closely, it starts with your energy, your openness, your willingness to soften instead of harden, to trust instead of close off, to show up emotionally instead of hiding behind strength alone. And don't scroll, because vulnerability is strength when it's guided by self-respect. And your heart needs this right now because you've built walls to protect yourself, and those walls served you once. But now they are being gently tapped by the universe, saying, it's safe to open a window. And listen to this, your soulmate feels that shift, they sense that you're ready for something deeper, something healthier, something more aligned, and don't scroll, because alignment attracts truth, and truth invites connection, and connection creates transformation, and your heart needs this right now because you're standing at the edge of an emotional turning point, a moment where your actions, your energy, your response, even your silence, carries weight. And listen closely, what you choose to give this Valentine doesn't have to be spoken immediately, it can be shown through presence, patience, kindness, emotional availability, and inner calm. And don't scroll, because calm energy is magnetic, it draws people toward you without force, and your heart needs this right now because your soulmate is craving emotional safety, stability, and reassurance that the connection is real. Not imagined, not one-sided, not fading. And listen to this. They want to know that you still care, that you still feel something, that the bond wasn't temporary. And don't scroll, because this desire is rising quietly inside them, building momentum, preparing them for action, reflection, or communication. And your heart needs this right now because this is not about chasing them. It's about aligning with your truth so they can meet you at your level. And listen closely. The universe is watching how you show up emotionally right now, how you treat yourself, how you honor your boundaries, how you express love without losing yourself. And don't scroll, because this Valentine is a test of emotional maturity, a checkpoint of growth, a mirror reflecting how far you've come. And your heart needs this right now because you are not the same person you were months ago. You are stronger, wiser, more self-aware, and that version of you carries a different energy, one that your soulmate can feel even from a distance. And listen to this moment is the calm before revelation, the quiet build-up before emotional truth surfaces. And don't scroll, because part 1 ends right here on purpose, right before I reveal what that one thing truly is that your soulmate is hoping you give them this Valentine. And when you hear it, it will shift how you see this connection forever. Stay right here, because now the second phase pulls back the veil and lets you feel the deeper emotional current moving beneath the surface. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because what your soulmate is longing for is not loud, flashy, or material. It's subtle, sacred, and rooted in emotional truth. And listen closely, beneath all the pride, silence, hesitation, and confusion, there is a quiet wish forming inside them, a hope that you will offer something that brings safety back into their heart, something that tells them they are seen, valued, and not forgotten. And don't scroll, because this longing didn't appear overnight, it has been growing slowly, built from moments when they missed your presence, from nights when your name crossed their mind without warning, from situations where they compared others to you and felt the difference. And your heart needs this right now because while you were healing, learning, and rebuilding yourself, they were becoming more aware of what your energy brought into their life: peace, warmth, understanding, and emotional depth. And listen to this, they are not hoping for perfection, they are hoping for authenticity, the kind that says, "I'm real with you," the kind that allows vulnerability to breathe, the kind that makes emotional walls soften without force. And don't scroll, because authenticity creates connection. And connection is what they crave most right now, not surface conversation, not polite distance, but genuine emotional presence. And your heart needs this right now because your growth has made you capable of offering this in a healthy way, without losing yourself, without sacrificing boundaries, without returning to old patterns. And listen closely, your soulmate has been reflecting on past interactions, replaying moments where they held back, stayed silent, or acted distant, and those memories now carry weight, not guilt, but awareness, the realization that something meaningful was there and still is. And don't scroll, because awareness is the doorway to change, and your heart needs this right now because change is approaching, even if it hasn't shown itself physically yet. And listen to this, they are hoping you give them emotional permission to step forward, not through chasing, not through pressure, but through openness, through calm communication, through energy that says, I am here, but I am whole on my own, and don't scroll, because wholeness is attractive, it invites others to meet you at your level, and your heart needs this right now because meeting at the same level creates balance, not emotional imbalance, not one-sided effort, not confusion. And listen closely, have you been feeling sudden emotional waves lately, moments of calm mixed with awareness, flashes of intuition, subtle nudges guiding you to reflect on love? Don't scroll, because that's the energetic connection responding. Two hearts adjusting frequency, two emotional timelines slowly syncing, and your heart needs this right now because this Valentine carries amplified emotional energy. It acts like a spotlight on unresolved feelings, bringing truth to the surface whether people are ready or not. And listen to this, your soulmate feels this intensity building, not as anxiety, but as pressure to be honest, to stop pretending, to face what they truly feel. And don't scroll, because emotional honesty is powerful. And your heart needs this right now because honesty opens doors that silence keeps closed. And listen closely, they are hoping you give them reassurance through action, not empty promises, but consistency, calmness, emotional availability, and respect. And don't scroll, because consistency builds trust, and trust is the foundation of lasting connection. And your heart needs this right now because trust allows vulnerability without fear, and vulnerability allows intimacy without pressure. And intimacy creates emotional closeness that goes deeper than attraction. And listen to this, your soulmate has been craving emotional clarity, tired of mixed signals, tired of uncertainty, tired of wondering where they stand with you. And don't scroll, because clarity is the gift they want most, the clarity that comes from your energy, your presence, your emotional honesty, and your boundaries. And your heart needs this right now because boundaries don't push people away. They show others how to treat you, and when boundaries are healthy, they create respect, and respect strengthens connection. And listen closely, you may feel called to approach this Valentine differently than previous ones, not from longing, not from loneliness, but from self-respect, grounded confidence, and emotional maturity. And don't scroll, because this shift is intentional, it's part of your awakening, and your heart needs this right now because awakening changes how you love, how you choose, how you respond, and how you allow others into your emotional world. And listen to this, your soulmate is sensing this shift, noticing that you are no longer desperate for validation, that you carry yourself with calm strength, and that calm strength is making them want to step up emotionally. And don't scroll, because when one person raises their emotional standard, the other feels the call to grow. And your heart needs this right now because growth on both sides is creating the possibility of a healthier dynamic. Not a repeat of the past, not a cycle of misunderstanding, but something new. And listen closely, this phase is about emotional alignment, about preparing both hearts for a moment of truth, whether that truth comes through conversation, action, or realization. And don't scroll, because that moment is approaching, and your heart needs this right now because preparation is happening quietly, aligning timing, emotion, and circumstance. And listen to this, you don't need to force anything, you don't need to chase, you don't need to prove your worth, you simply need to remain aligned with your growth, your peace, and your truth. And don't scroll, because alignment does the work for you. And your heart needs this right now because the universe responds to authenticity, not desperation, and listen closely. Part 2 ends right here on purpose, right as emotional momentum builds, because next comes the stage where this inner longing begins translating into visible signs, subtle actions, and real-world movement that will directly affect your soulmate story. Stay present, because the third phase now shifts the energy from inner emotion into outward expression, where what has been building quietly begins shaping real movement, real interaction, and visible change. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because this is the stage where longing becomes action and reflection becomes decision. And listen closely, you may begin noticing small but meaningful signs appearing around you. Unexpected messages, sudden thoughts about reaching out, subtle changes in how your soulmate behaves, or moments that place you in each other's awareness without effort. And don't scroll, because these moments are not coincidence, they are alignment cues, gentle nudges from the universe creating openings for connection. And your heart needs this right now, because these openings are not meant to pull you back into old patterns. They are meant to reveal how differently you now handle emotional situations. And listen to this, your soulmate may start showing curiosity, not through grand gestures, but through simple actions, checking in, responding more thoughtfully, or finding reasons to be present in your space again. And don't scroll, because subtle attention carries deeper meaning than loud declarations, especially from someone who once held back. And your heart needs this right now, because this shift signals internal resistance dissolving. And listen closely. During this phase you may feel guided to respond with calm confidence, choosing words carefully, setting gentle boundaries, and maintaining emotional balance instead of rushing or withdrawing. And don't scroll, because your responses now shape the direction of the connection. And your heart needs this right now, because growth is demonstrated through behavior, not promises. And listen to this, behavior creates new dynamics, and new dynamics attract healthier experiences. And don't scroll, because attraction follows alignment, not force. And your heart needs this right now, because alignment draws what matches your emotional state, not what matches your past wounds. And listen closely, you may also notice changes in your own energy, feeling steadier, more grounded, less reactive. And this stability is powerful, because it communicates self-respect without explanation. And self-respect changes how people treat you. And don't scroll, because treatment reflects the standards you maintain through action, not just words. And your heart needs this right now, because you are learning to lead emotionally, guiding interactions through calm presence instead of emotional dependency. And listen to this, this phase may also bring moments where you choose to prioritize yourself, focusing on personal goals, routines, and activities that nourish your well-being. And this focus is important, because it shifts your energy from waiting to creating. And don't scroll, because creation energy is magnetic, attracting opportunities, experiences, and people who resonate with your growth. And your heart needs this right now, because you deserve a full life, not one centered around uncertainty. And listen closely, as you continue choosing alignment, you may notice timing working in your favor, obstacles dissolving, conversations flowing more naturally, and opportunities appearing when least expected. And this flow indicates that you are moving with the universe instead of against it. And don't scroll, because resistance once created exhaustion, while flow creates ease. And your heart needs this right now, because ease supports healing, and healing strengthens intuition, and intuition guides you toward choices that honor your values. And listen to this, you may also recognize a growing sense of emotional independence, the understanding that your happiness is not tied to someone else's behavior. And this independence is freeing, because it removes pressure from relationships, allowing connection to grow organically, and don't scroll, because fear-based attachment once shaped decisions, while awareness now shapes them, and your heart needs this right now because awareness creates freedom, and freedom allows love to exist without control. And listen closely, you may sense that your soulmate is becoming more aware of your independence, noticing that you no longer seek validation, that you carry yourself differently, that you are less available for uncertainty. And this awareness may push them to reflect more deeply on their own behavior. And don't scroll, because reflection leads to decision, and decision leads to transformation, and your heart needs this right now because transformation is the doorway to new possibilities. And listen to this phase is preparing both of you for a turning point, the moment where emotional tension reaches resolution, whether through conversation, realization, or energetic closure. And don't scroll, because that moment is approaching, even if it hasn't arrived yet, and your heart needs this right now because preparation is happening on a soul level, aligning emotional readiness and circumstances. And listen closely, you are not meant to rush this process, you are meant to trust it, to remain grounded, to stay focused on your growth, and to allow the universe to guide timing. And don't scroll, because trust keeps the pathway clear. And your heart needs this right now because clarity is forming, and clarity will guide your next steps with confidence. And listen to this. You may also experience moments of emotional courage during this phase, choosing honesty over silence, choosing peace over drama, choosing boundaries over overgiving, and these choices strengthen your emotional foundation, preparing you for healthier connection. And don't scroll, because foundation determines stability, and your heart needs this right now because stability attracts consistency, and consistency supports trust, and trust creates intimacy, and intimacy deepens connection. And listen closely, part 3 ends here intentionally, right at the point where movement is building and momentum is forming, because what comes next will reveal how these subtle shifts turn into clear emotional direction and visible change in your soulmate journey. Stay centered in this moment, because the 4th phase now enters the stage of emotional exposure and honest realization, where what has been quietly forming begins stepping into awareness with clarity and weight. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because this is the point where feelings can no longer remain hidden beneath silence or distraction. And listen closely. You may notice situations unfolding that invite deeper conversation, moments where eye contact lingers longer, pauses feel heavier, or unspoken understanding fills the space between you. And these moments are not accidental, they are openings created by alignment, allowing truth to surface gently instead of erupting through conflict. And as this phase unfolds, your soulmate may begin revealing vulnerability in unexpected ways, not always through direct confession, but through subtle honesty, softened behavior, or emotional transparency that wasn't present before. And this vulnerability matters, because it signals internal walls lowering and awareness expanding. And during this stage, you may also feel an inner shift within yourself, a desire to communicate differently, to speak calmly instead of defensively, to express clarity instead of holding back, to honor boundaries without guilt. And these choices demonstrate your emotional evolution, and emotional evolution reshapes connection dynamics without force, allowing healthier interaction patterns to emerge naturally. And as this stage continues, you may experience heightened perception, sensing emotional undercurrents beneath surface conversations, understanding tone, energy, and intention more clearly. And this perception is part of your spiritual awakening, sharpening intuition and helping you navigate emotional territory with wisdom instead of assumption. And wisdom brings balance, And balance allows you to remain grounded even when sensitive topics arise, and this grounded presence communicates stability, not coldness. Not distance, but calm strength that invites respect, and respect transforms how others approach you, creating safer emotional space for honest dialogue. And during this phase, you may also feel moments of emotional release, letting go of lingering disappointment, resentment, or unresolved sadness, and this release is healing, because it clears space for new emotional experiences, fresh perspective, and inner peace. And peace is essential, because it allows you to observe situations without emotional distortion, to make choices based on clarity rather than impulse, and clarity protects your heart while keeping it open, and as clarity grows, you may start viewing your soulmate connection differently, not through attachment or longing, but through understanding, recognizing the role it played in your growth rather than defining your future. And this shift in perception brings freedom, because it removes pressure and expectation, allowing you to engage with the connection from maturity rather than fear. And during this phase, you may also notice changes in your daily habits, prioritizing rest, nourishment, and personal goals, choosing activities that support emotional well-being instead of draining energy. And this self-investment strengthens your identity beyond relationships, reminding you that your life has depth, direction, and purpose independent of any one person. And this independence is attractive, because it draws people who respect your individuality and value your presence. And as independence grows, you may feel less urgency to control outcomes, more patience to allow situations to unfold naturally, trusting that what aligns with your highest good will emerge at the right moment. And this trust reduces anxiety and replaces it with calm anticipation. And calm anticipation allows intuition to guide you gently, helping you sense when to speak, when to pause, and when to step forward. And this guidance becomes clearer when your emotional world is balanced, when your mind is quiet, when your heart feels safe. And during this stage, you may experience a stronger connection to your inner voice, sensing direction without overthinking, understanding subtle nudges without needing external validation. And this inner guidance empowers you to navigate conversations and decisions with confidence. And confidence influences how others perceive you, creating admiration, respect, and curiosity. And as this unfolds, you may notice your soulmate's behavior reflecting this shift, showing greater awareness, emotional accountability, or thoughtful action. And while this does not guarantee a specific outcome, it signals movement, progress, and energetic alignment, creating space for honest resolution, renewed connection, or peaceful closure. And closure is not loss, it is completion, allowing emotional energy to redirect toward new beginnings. And new beginnings bring fresh potential, and potential inspires hope, and hope motivates action. And action leads to growth, and growth shapes destiny. And during this phase, you may also feel drawn to simplify your emotional environment, letting go of unnecessary drama, mental clutter, and emotional baggage, choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion. And simplicity creates stability, and stability supports emotional resilience, helping you remain steady during change. And resilience allows you to face uncertainty without fear, trusting your ability to adapt and thrive. And as this stage deepens, you may experience moments of gratitude, appreciating lessons learned, strength gained, and awareness developed. And gratitude elevates emotional frequency, attracting supportive people, aligned opportunities, and meaningful experiences. And this ripple effect extends into other areas of your life, improving relationships, enhancing creativity, and strengthening purpose. And purpose gives direction. helping you choose experiences that align with your values rather than chasing temporary satisfaction, and as direction becomes clearer, you may feel a quiet excitement about the future, not anxious anticipation, but grounded curiosity, the sense that something meaningful is unfolding and that you are ready to meet it with awareness and confidence, and this readiness is your sign that transformation is active, that integration is happening, and that you are stepping into a new emotional season shaped by maturity, balance, and spiritual alignment. And as this phase approaches completion, you may sense calm certainty settling within, the knowing that truth no longer needs to hide, that clarity is guiding your path, and that whatever outcome emerges will support your highest good, and this certainty allows you to relax into the present moment, trusting the process without needing constant reassurance. And part 4 ends here because this is the revelation stage. The point where emotional honesty rises, where illusions fade, and where your soulmate story prepares to transition into its next chapter guided by awareness, self-respect, and inner strength. Stay grounded in this unfolding moment, because the 5th phase now opens the gateway of deliberate redirection, where awareness turns into purposeful movement and intention begins sculpting the road ahead, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because choice is power and power reshapes destiny, and listen closely, you may feel a quiet authority rising inside, not loud or forceful, but steady and certain, guiding you to recognize what deserves your time, attention, and emotional investment, and this recognition is transformative, because it shifts you from emotional reaction into conscious leadership of your own life, and during this stage, you might notice yourself becoming more selective with conversations, commitments, and connections, choosing depth instead of distraction, quality instead of chaos, and this selectiveness is not withdrawal, it is discernment. The ability to protect your energy while remaining open to meaningful experience, and discernment elevates your emotional environment, attracting people and opportunities aligned with your values, and as this alignment strengthens, you may feel drawn to invest more energy into personal goals, creative projects, or learning experiences that expand your sense of purpose beyond romantic focus, and this expansion nurtures fulfillment, which reduces attachment and increases confidence. And confidence influences how you show up, shaping posture, voice, and presence affects interactions, and interactions shape outcomes, and outcomes build future reality, and during this phase, you may also practice healthier boundaries, choosing rest instead of exhaustion, clarity instead of confusion, honesty instead of avoidance, and these boundaries act as filters rather than walls, allowing supportive energy to enter while keeping draining influences away, and healthy filters protect peace. And peace fosters clarity, and clarity supports wise decision-making, and wise decisions prevent unnecessary emotional turmoil, and as clarity deepens, you may notice your thoughts slowing, your reactions softening, and your responses becoming more intentional, and this steadiness communicates maturity, inviting respect from others without demand, and respect creates balanced connection, which supports emotional safety, and emotional safety allows vulnerability to exist without fear. And during this stage, you may also redefine what love means to you, moving away from intensity toward reliability, from fantasy toward grounded partnership, from emotional turbulence toward stability and trust, and this redefinition aligns desire with growth, preparing you for healthier relationships, and as this alignment continues, you may feel less attached to specific outcomes, more focused on alignment and well-being, and this detachment is healthy, because it removes pressure and allows situations to unfold naturally, trusting that what matches your frequency will find you without force, and trust nurtures patience, and patience protects inner calm, and calm strengthens intuition, and intuition guides you toward choices that honor your truth, and during this stage, you may also experience heightened self-awareness, recognizing old patterns and choosing not to repeat them, responding differently to familiar triggers, and this shift demonstrates emotional evolution. And emotional evolution attracts experiences that reflect your new mindset, and as this phase unfolds, you may feel a growing sense of empowerment, the understanding that your worth does not depend on external approval, that validation begins within, and this empowerment changes how you approach connection, allowing you to love without losing yourself, to support others without self-sacrifice, and to give without depletion. And during this stage, you may also feel inspired to simplify aspects of your life, reducing mental clutter, emotional baggage, and unnecessary drama, creating space for clarity and focus, and simplicity supports balance, and balance encourages stability, and stability enhances well-being, and well-being influences every area of life, from relationships to career to personal growth, and as this phase deepens, you may notice opportunities emerging that reflect your alignment, whether through new connections, projects, or experiences that support your evolution. And these opportunities are signs that your life is responding to your internal shift, offering experiences that match your growth, and as alignment strengthens, you may feel more open to exploring unfamiliar territory, stepping beyond comfort zones, and embracing change with curiosity rather than fear, and curiosity fuels learning, and learning fosters expansion, and expansion broadens emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence improves interaction quality. And quality interactions build meaningful relationships, and meaningful relationships create fulfillment, and fulfillment reinforces optimism, and optimism attracts positive experiences, and positive experiences strengthen belief in purpose, and purpose motivates continued growth, and growth shapes destiny, and during this stage, you may also experience moments of reflection, honoring progress, recognizing resilience, and appreciating the courage it took to face uncomfortable truths. And honoring yourself reinforces self-respect, and self-respect guides future choices, helping you maintain standards that protect your peace. And as this stage unfolds, you may notice that your priorities feel clearer, choosing experiences that nourish rather than drain, focusing on what truly matters instead of what distracts, and this focus brings direction, and direction guides action, and action leads to achievement, and achievement builds confidence, and confidence supports leadership in your own life, and leadership encourages responsibility, and responsibility strengthens discipline, and discipline fosters long-term success, and success enhances fulfillment, and fulfillment contributes to emotional satisfaction, and emotional satisfaction improves quality of life, and quality of life reflects inner harmony, and harmony attracts supportive environments, aligned relationships, and meaningful opportunities, and as this phase nears completion, you may feel a readiness to move forward into the next chapter, whether that chapter brings renewed connection, emotional resolution, or fresh beginnings, and this readiness signals that lessons have integrated into wisdom, that reaction has transformed into intention, and that you are prepared to navigate what comes next with clarity and confidence. And Part 5 concludes here because this is the redirection stage, the moment where awareness becomes action, where growth becomes visible through choice, and where your soulmate journey continues evolving guided by emotional intelligence, self-respect, and inner alignment. Remain present as the sixth phase now steps into the realm of tangible manifestation, where inner adjustments begin shaping external reality in ways you can see, feel, and experience. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because this is the moment when alignment stops being abstract and starts becoming visible through timing, opportunity, and interaction. And listen closely. You may start noticing smoother flow in daily experiences, unexpected chances appearing, conversations unfolding with ease, and situations resolving more naturally than before. And these shifts are not coincidence. They are feedback from the universe responding to your growth, confirming that your energy is resonating at a higher level. And during this stage, your soulmate connection may also begin reflecting this alignment through altered dynamics, more thoughtful communication, emotional honesty, or a different tone that feels calmer and more grounded. And this adjustment is intentional, because when one person evolves, relationships recalibrate to match the new frequency, and this recalibration can lead to renewal, transformation, or peaceful closure, depending on what serves your highest good. And as this unfolds, you may feel more confident navigating emotional moments, trusting your instincts, choosing words carefully, and maintaining composure even when feelings arise. And this composure communicates strength without coldness, warmth without attachment, and stability without control. And stability influences how others approach you, creating respect rather than assumption, and respect supports balanced connection, and balanced connection fosters emotional safety, and emotional safety allows vulnerability without fear. And during this phase, you may also experience momentum building in other areas of your life, such as career growth, creative inspiration, or personal development. And this momentum is connected to your emotional alignment, because when inner resistance decreases, energy flows more freely, and free-flowing energy supports productivity, motivation, and fulfillment strengthens self-worth, and self-worth shapes how you treat yourself, and self-treatment influences what you allow from others. And as this cycle continues, you may find yourself making decisions more quickly and confidently, not from impulse, but from clarity, choosing environments that feel supportive, conversations that feel meaningful, and opportunities that resonate with your values. And these decisions quietly shape your future, creating a life that reflects your evolved standards. And during this stage, you may also notice improved emotional resilience, the ability to handle disappointment, uncertainty, or unexpected outcomes without collapsing emotionally. And this resilience is a sign of maturity, because it shows that your stability no longer depends on external validation, and internal stability creates freedom, allowing you to enjoy connection without fear of loss, to explore opportunities without attachment, and to move forward without hesitation. And as this freedom expands, you may feel more open to creativity, playfulness, and exploration, allowing life to surprise you with positive experiences. And this openness invites growth, because it removes rigid expectations and replaces them with curiosity. And curiosity leads to learning, and learning fosters expansion, and expansion continues shaping emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence improves interaction quality, and quality interactions build meaningful relationships, and meaningful relationships create satisfaction, and satisfaction reinforces optimism, and optimism attracts positive experiences, and positive experiences strengthen belief in possibility, and possibility inspires hope, and hope motivates action, and action leads to progress, and progress shapes destiny. And during this stage, you may also experience moments of reflection, recognizing how far you've come, noticing changes in how you react, communicate, and prioritize well-being, and acknowledging progress reinforces self-belief. and belief fuels continued growth, and as belief strengthens, you may feel more comfortable stepping into leadership roles within your own life, taking initiative, setting goals, and following through with commitment, and commitment builds discipline, and discipline supports long-term success, and long-term success enhances confidence, and confidence attracts opportunities that reflect your self-assurance, and during this stage, you may also feel a stronger connection to intuition, sensing when to move forward and when to pause, when to speak and when to remain silent, and trusting this guidance helps you navigate emotional situations with grace, avoiding unnecessary conflict and preserving harmony, and harmony supports peace. And peace creates clarity, and clarity allows you to remain focused on what truly matters, and as this focus deepens, you may simplify priorities, choosing depth over distraction, quality over quantity, and meaning over noise, and this simplification brings balance, and balance supports emotional health, and emotional health strengthens your capacity for connection, and as this capacity expands, you may attract relationships that feel supportive, reciprocal, and nourishing, reflecting your evolved standards, and during this stage, you may also notice that your soulmate's energy responds to your stability, showing increased awareness, emotional openness, or accountability, and while this does not guarantee a specific outcome, it signals movement and growth on both sides, creating the possibility for honest dialogue or peaceful closure, and closure is not failure, it is completion, allowing energy to shift toward new beginnings, and new beginnings carry fresh potential, and potential inspires hope, and hope motivates action, and action leads to progress, and progress shapes destiny, and as this stage continues unfolding, you may feel a quiet excitement about the future, not anxious anticipation, but grounded optimism, the sense that something meaningful is aligning, that your life is expanding beyond old limitations, and that you are ready to step into new chapters with confidence, and this readiness is your confirmation that integration is happening, that lessons have been absorbed, and that wisdom is guiding your choices, and as wisdom guides you, you may feel more compassionate toward yourself and others, understanding that everyone is learning at their own pace, and compassion softens judgment, allowing forgiveness, acceptance, and emotional freedom to grow, and emotional freedom creates space for joy, and joy enhances quality of life, and quality of life reflects inner harmony, and harmony attracts supportive experiences, and as this phase approaches completion, you may sense a calm certainty settling within, the knowing that you are moving in alignment with your purpose, that your choices are reflecting your growth, and that whatever unfolds next will serve your highest good, and this certainty allows you to relax into the present moment, trusting the process without needing constant reassurance, and Part 6 concludes here because this is the manifestation stage, the point where internal change becomes external reality, where alignment produces visible movement, and where your soulmate journey continues evolving through clarity, balance, and emotional strength. Stay steady and open, because the seventh phase now enters the moment of emotional resolution and destiny alignment, where everything that has shifted within you begins settling into a clear direction, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because this is the stage where uncertainty dissolves and understanding takes its place, and listen closely. You may start noticing that situations no longer feel confusing, that emotional tension softens, that decisions feel easier to make, and this ease is not accidental, it is confirmation that your inner growth has created harmony between intention and outcome, and during this phase, you might experience a defining interaction, not always dramatic, but deeply meaningful, a conversation filled with honesty, a message that brings closure or renewal, or even a quiet realization that reshapes how you see your soulmate connection. And these moments arrive with a sense of inevitability, the feeling that everything unfolded exactly as it needed to, and that feeling is alignment, the natural result of preparation meeting divine timing. And as this unfolds, you may notice your responses becoming more grounded, choosing patience over impulse, listening with openness instead of defensiveness, speaking with clarity rather than fear, and these shifts reflect emotional maturity, and maturity transforms dynamics, because it invites respect instead of emotional turbulence, and respect creates balanced connection, and balanced connection supports emotional safety, and emotional safety allows vulnerability without panic. And during this stage, your soulmate may also reveal their final stance through action, honesty, or emotional clarity, and whatever form it takes, you will sense authenticity behind it, not just words, but energy that feels sincere and stable, and this truth allows you to move forward without lingering questions, without mental guessing, without waiting for signs, because clarity replaces uncertainty, and clarity brings freedom, because it releases mental loops that once drained your energy, and with that freedom, you may feel emotional lightness, the kind that comes from letting go of unresolved weight, and this lightness allows you to focus on the present moment, appreciating what is unfolding instead of replaying what already passed, and presence deepens your experience of life, helping you notice small joys, meaningful interactions, and simple pleasures, and as presence grows, gratitude naturally arises, and gratitude shifts your emotional state, moving focus from lack to abundance, from disappointment to appreciation, and abundance mindset attracts supportive people, aligned opportunities, and new possibilities that reflect your elevated awareness, and during this phase, you may also feel inspired to redefine your future vision, not based on old expectations, but on who you have become, choosing goals, relationships, and environments that resonate with your values and emotional well-being, and this redefinition is powerful, because it marks the transition from an old identity into renewed self-awareness, and identity shapes reality, because it influences what you allow, what you pursue, and what you tolerate, and as your identity evolves, you may notice your standards becoming clearer, valuing consistency, respect, and emotional security above temporary excitement, and this clarity protects your peace, because it prevents you from settling into situations that do not honor your worth, and as your standards stabilize, you may attract people who reflect that level of awareness, connections that feel supportive, conversations that feel meaningful, and environments that feel nourishing, and this nourishment extends beyond romance, influencing friendships, professional relationships, and personal growth, creating balance across different areas of your life. And during this stage, you may also experience a sense of inner celebration, not loud or dramatic, but quiet recognition of your progress, honoring the effort it took to grow, the courage it required to face uncomfortable truths, and the patience needed to heal, and honoring yourself is important, because it reinforces self-trust, and self-trust allows you to navigate future challenges with confidence, knowing that you can handle emotional shifts with grace, and as this phase continues unfolding, you may sense readiness to step fully into your next chapter, whether that includes renewed connection, emotional closure, or fresh beginnings that align with your growth, and this readiness confirms that the journey served its purpose, that lessons were integrated, that wisdom was gained, and that you are no longer attached to outdated outcomes, and detachment does not mean indifference, it means freedom, the ability to love without fear, to connect without losing yourself, to move forward without resentment. And freedom creates emotional stability, and stability supports long-term fulfillment, and as fulfillment becomes your new baseline, you may notice that life feels more balanced, less reactive, more intentional, and this intentional living allows you to choose experiences that nourish your spirit instead of draining it, and during this stage, you may also feel a deeper connection to your intuition, trusting your inner voice more easily, sensing alignment without overthinking. And this intuitive clarity becomes your guide, helping you navigate relationships, decisions, and opportunities with confidence, and confidence is magnetic, because it attracts respect, honesty, and authenticity from others, and authenticity creates genuine connection, and genuine connection brings satisfaction, and satisfaction reinforces belief in divine timing and purpose. And as belief strengthens, you may approach life with more trust, openness, and courage. And courage allows you to take steps toward your dreams, express your truth, and create boundaries that protect your peace, and boundaries support self-respect, and self-respect shapes how others treat you, and treatment influences relationship quality, and quality determines fulfillment. And fulfillment is becoming your new standard, replacing emotional struggle with stability, and as this phase reaches its peak, you may experience a moment of emotional confirmation, a realization that delays were protection, challenges were preparation, and growth was the true gift of this journey, and this realization brings peace, the kind that settles deep within, allowing you to breathe easier, relax into the present, and trust the future, and trust is powerful, because it allows you to move forward without fear, knowing that you are supported by alignment, intuition, and inner strength, and as this stage comes to a close, you may feel closure mixed with anticipation. The feeling that one chapter has ended and another is beginning, not with chaos, but with calm readiness, and this readiness is your sign that transformation is complete, that integration has occurred, and that your soulmate story has shifted you into a new emotional reality guided by clarity, self-respect, and inner balance. And part 7 ends here because this is the culmination stage, the moment where answers settle, direction becomes clear, and destiny aligns with the person you have become. Remain open to this final expansion, because the 8th phase now unfolds into integration and forward momentum, where everything you learned, healed, and released becomes the foundation for a new emotional reality. And listen closely, your heart needs this right now, because this stage is not about waiting anymore, it is about living from alignment, carrying wisdom into everyday choices, and embodying the growth you worked so hard to achieve. And as this unfolds, you may notice your daily rhythm changing in subtle but powerful ways, mornings feeling lighter, decisions becoming clearer, priorities rearranging themselves without force, and this shift signals that your inner world has stabilized, creating harmony between intention and action, and with this harmony comes a sense of grounded confidence, not loud or performative, but steady and authentic, the kind that influences how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you listen, and how you carry yourself through life. And this presence naturally attracts opportunities that resonate with your values, inviting experiences that support growth rather than repetition. And during this phase, you may also feel inspired to create new routines that nourish your well-being, choosing habits that support clarity, movement, creativity, and emotional balance. And these routines are not restrictions. They are structures that protect your energy and help you remain centered as life continues to evolve, and as your environment becomes more intentional, you may notice increased focus, improved productivity, and deeper satisfaction with progress, because effort now feels purposeful instead of exhausting, and purpose fuels motivation, and motivation encourages consistent action, and consistent action